good morning, everybody. May I, on behalf of the 7 subnational transport bodies, welcome us to our second, I think, annual conference of STBs. It really gives us great joy to be here with all of you, policymakers, researchers, professionals, all our partners and all our sponsors. It really is so important that we do spend time together. Today, actually, I'm going to break the norm a bit. I usually, those who know me well, will start by praising the most amazing region in the UK, the Midlands, right? I will talk about, almost 11 million people, home to amazing global transport firms. Okay, I'll stop. But I will say, from today, I'm going to focus throughout the day on highlighting and showcasing the work that all of the STBs are doing, collaborating together. So, you have those who are familiar with the STB world. There was a clear mandate from government when we first were introduced. First one was for STBs to develop a strategy, a vision for transport for the regions that they served. The second one, and this is something that particularly ministers are very keen on, is to prioritize, to advise them what were those transport investments that really make a difference from an economic, from a social, environmental perspective. What is the region really keen for government to invest on? In doing so, some national transport bodies have actually become more mature, and a lot of us are well on the way developing the transport strategies. We published our transport plan last year, and as part of that, we did a huge amount of research. And it's not just about transport research. We looked into where the region was heading, where was this levelling up agenda taking us to, what were the strengths, what were the economic clusters, and so on. And that helped us, as I said, work collaboratively with all our partners to identify what are the key transformational investment programs that will really make a difference. So in the Midlands, for instance, we identified the Midlands Rail Hub, who we're working very closely with government, and we wait to hear announcements soon, hopefully. But we'd also work with national highways and prioritizing investment on corridors like the A50, A500 and the A46. These are things, real programs, and programs that actually have the backing of all partners in our region. But what today is going to be more important is not about mentioning those priorities and those projects from each of the regions. I think today what we're going to see is a real focus that hopefully you can all join on what the STBs are doing to grasp with these massive challenges that all local transport authorities, in fact the whole country, is battling through. And this is areas such as decarbonisation, the acceleration and rollout of EV infrastructure. What happens to freight? What's the future of freight? Extremely important to the Midlands. What about rural mobility? What is its future in light of changes in travel patterns? All of these matters, no one single authority, no one single STB can address on their own. So there is an appetite to work collaboratively together. So actually, no one part of the UK is left behind. This is, if you have to think about levelling up, that's what we're referring to. And the Department for Transport government has been very clear and very articulate, making sure that that's a space, is a new area where STBs have got a very important role to play. So you'll see in the coming months a lot of reference to centres of excellence, and that's about the STBs providing thought leadership and a good platform for local transport authorities, for businesses, the private sector, to start really sharing the experiences of all those challenges, all those barriers that they're facing in taking forward these very important agendas, such as I said, this decarbonisation. Now, over the last 12 months, since our last conference, a lot of things have also happened and are worth mentioning, and I thought I'll highlight some of them just to give you a feel of how they relate to the work of STBs. GBRTT is well on the way, is progressing. We are, of course, waiting for legislation, but from a Midlands Connect and an STB perspective, the conversation, the dialogue, the work together with GBRTT is progressing well. May I say, we were delighted in the Midlands. The headquarters are now in Derby. Now, also, National Highways also published the initial report. That's for the SRN and the future of the SRN in this country for many years to come. Hugely important, and we were delighted to see that in that initial report, already National Highways were acknowledging the input, the information, the evidence that the STBs have provided over the last few years. Local devolution is also on the rise. Massive progress in the West Midlands with the Trailblazer deal alongside Greater Manchester, but there's also new combined authorities emerging here in the Midlands, for instance, in the East Midlands and in Lincolnshire. Huge opportunities, more empowerment, and an important relationship to foster between those combined authorities and STBs in the country. Alongside the devolution agenda, we're also awaiting announcements from the department on the LTP and the guidance, hugely important for all of us, not just for local authorities. You know, clear sort of tools for local authorities to set up 5-year plans and to plan and program what works best in their own areas. Again, STBs, we're working very closely with the department to see how we can help them in terms, for instance, in the decarbonisation, how you monitor, how you measure the impact that local transport plans will have towards decarbonising our network. We're also working a lot on the, and there's a huge momentum, you will agree, around the electrification of our road system. You know, EV, the rollout of EV infrastructure is becoming more important. We keep hearing we're lacking behind, we're not going fast enough, where is the energy coming from? Again, STBs are entering that space, facilitating conversations with private sector, with local authorities, making sure that ultimately we are creating a sustainable and reliable EV charging network for the whole of the UK. Again, not just concentrating on specific pockets of the country. STVs allow that conversation and that planning to happen across all our geographical areas. So hopefully you see that today we have a number of workshops, sessions, debates that are going to concentrate on those particular challenges, those challenges where STBs have seen a niche role to accelerate, to put pace to that debate and those efforts that are happening nationally with bodies like National Highways Network Rail, HS2, and locally through the Local Transport Authorities Combined Authority. That bridging those conversations and ensure that strategic planning happens at its best is what we are really here to do. So to conclude, we all know we really are at the cusp of transformational in the transport sector. Innovation, partnership between public-private sectors and nationally across all STBs will be a critical ingredient to this effort, in this effort. At Midlands Connect, we get this. You know, we are actually an STB who's bordering with other 4 STBs of the 7. We're also bordering with Wales, and our connections to Wales is important. So collaboration, understanding how our network has an impact or supports our neighbouring areas is part of our DNA, to be frank. So today's conference is going to be an important platform for us to make meaningful connections that can spark new ideas, new thoughts, and I want to wish you all a very fruitful day ahead.